2 hours ago, a man was shot in the head and killed in North St. Louis. It happened on Elias Avenue around 3:15 this morning. No word on a suspect or what led up to that shooting.
What's up, everybody? Mr. 100K a day in the flesh. And today on crimes in St. Louis, weird crimes in St. Louis at that, I'm going to bring y'all the story of Darlene Bryson. Now, Darlene Bryson is a woman who's approximately 64 years old now, 63, 64 years old. And a few years ago, she had been charged with a murder. And this is the article from the murder. It says St. Louis woman told police she killed a man because he kicked her and called her a one-eyed bitch, authorities say. Darlene Bryson, 56, was charged Wednesday with first-degree murder and armed criminal action. Police say she shot 49-year-old Reginald Stewart in the head. When officers arrived that morning at 933 Elias Avenue in the Bay neighborhood in North City, Bryson walked out of the house with her hands up, police said in a probable cause statement. He kicked me and called me a one-eyed bitch, so I got my .22 and I shot him, Bryson told them, according to the statement. She also said Stewart had been wearing a boot when he kicked her. Officers went into the house and found him dead on a bed in the front room. They noted he was wearing only a pair of nylon shorts and was barefoot, no boots. Investigators recovered a .22 caliber rifle from the scene. According to police, Bryson later added, he out effing another bitch too and want to call me a one-eyed bitch. So I killed that MF. She was taken into custody and is being held in the St. Louis City Justice Center without bond. So, ladies and gentlemen, turns out that fella that she, shot in the head was her boyfriend. Reginald was her boyfriend, and Reginald Stewart was her boyfriend. And, just because he out piping another woman, he called her one-eyed whatever. She decided to shoot him in the head. You would think that this would cause other men to be aware of her and to not want to date her anymore. No. So, as a result of this charge, first-degree murder in Missouri automatically carries a sentence of life without parole, unless the state pursues the death penalty. Then they can pursue the death penalty for it. But she was charged with first-degree murder. She was able to plead all the way down to involuntary second-degree manslaughter, and she received probation, 5 years probation. And if she violated probation, and she would then have to complete a 4-year prison sentence backup. So she had a really, really lenient sentence for a case where clearly she committed a first-degree murder, where there are a lot of men and people in prison right now for much less premeditation, and they still were convicted of first-degree murder, and they never get out of prison. And she said what she did and why she did it to these people, and she was able to get it all the way down to probation, which is absolutely ridiculous. But that's the way the law works sometimes. So let's be clear, that was just November 21st, 2023, not even a full year ago that she pled guilty to the charge. She sat in jail all the time. Remember, the incident happened in 2019, and it wasn't until 2023 that she got her case adjudicated. Approximately. So I believe a majority of the time, when I look at the actual court documents, she had been in jail majority of that time, awaiting trial. So by the time she had a chance to get everything done, get probation, she'd had well over 2 years in, because I believe she got out for she was released in 2021. So she got locked up in 2019, in April of 2019, got out in 2021, releasing her own recognizances. And she was able to get out just basically on GPS. She was on house arrest. So she had well over 2 years in of jail credit by the time that she got released on probation. So life was pretty good for her. And like I said, so she stayed out all the time, and then she didn't plead guilty while being out on bond until just November 21st, 2023, which wasn't even a full year ago. So one of the conditions of her probation was, and it clearly said, the judge ordered, it said, the defendant shall remain engaged with places for people, which I believe is a homeless shelter. And she should also maintain sobriety as a condition of probation. Now, everybody knows if you violate any condition of probation, that's a grounds for revocation of your probation. So this lady with the one eye who got a chance to get a sweetheart deal of probation after shooting her boyfriend in the head because he's having sex with another woman and because he called her a one-eyed bitch, she definitely has to stay away from alcohol and, and not getting drunk. So let's see what that led to. Yeah, I know what that led to. She didn't last a full year. Just a few months ago, guess what she got arrested for? I'll tell y'all what she got arrested for. Another sucker come along, want to wife her up, make her, his girlfriend. She gets drunk, barely been on probation 6, 7, 8 months. And guess what does she do? She stabs him. And this is what the article says. It says a St. Louis woman who was on probation for a fatal shooting in 2019 was sentenced to 4 years in prison Friday for stabbing and wounding her fiance in June. So remember, she just pled guilty to the murder of her ex for calling her a one-eyed whatever just in November. So in June, she stabbed her new fiance. A St. Louis Circuit Judge, Scott McMillan, sentenced 61-year-old Darlene Bryson to 4 years in prison after police said she stabbed and injured her fiance on June 22nd while she was intoxicated. According to the 22nd Judicial Circuit, Bryson admitted to the stabbing as part of a plea agreement that she wouldn't face new charges. Bryson was on probation after pleading guilty in November to shooting and killing 49-year-old Reginald Stewart Mann on April 24th, 2019. Bryson was originally charged with first-degree murder and armed criminal action, but reached a plea agreement and pleaded guilty to one count of involuntary manslaughter. So, guys, let's get this straight. She's already on probation, ain't been out of jail a full year for shooting her ex-boyfriend in the head. She gets off, gets probation for it, right? Not because he beat her, not because he really hurt her, not because he threatened her with a weapon, but because he called her a one-eyed bitch and because he kicked her with a boot. Remember, when they found his body, he ain't had no boots on. So he took his boots off after he suffered a bullet wound to the head, or she was just outright lying. Okay, but anyway, she gets probation for that. Comes out, and another sucker dude out here decides to wifey her up, make this woman his fiance, and she ended up stabbing him when she gets drunk in violation of her probation. So yeah, so she's doing 4 years. It's just the backup time. She didn't get a new charge. She didn't get to do nothing. She just got a violation of her probation. But the crazy thing about this is, like I said earlier, she had spent so much time in jail already when she was waiting on her case to get adjudicated. Remember, she was in jail for 2 years, over 2 years before she had even gotten her case, taken care of. So all of that time counted. And gave her what they call jail credit. So when the judge just sentenced her last week, she had 847 days of jail credit in on a sentence of 4 years. 847 days, guys. That is well over 2 years. Pushing towards 3. And in Missouri, with the type of crime that she was convicted of, which involuntary manslaughter, second degree voluntary manslaughter, is not a very serious crime, she maybe won't even serve 25% of the sentence. So literally, when this woman goes to prison, because of the amount of time she sat in jail when she on her original charge, and all the time is credited to her, she has well over 2 years in. She has well over 50% of her time in on a 4-year sentence. And when her parole eligibility date is probably 15, maybe even 20% at most. And at the top, it would be 30%. So she'd turn around, Soon as she touches down, she'll come right out of prison. And we'll see. When she comes out of prison in the next 6, 7, 8 months, it'll be very interesting. After shooting one man in the head, after being on probation for less than a year, then stabbing the next man, who's her fiance, and I'm sure knew about her past. It's going to be very interesting to see if the next guy comes along and wants to marry her, wifey her up, and possibly be victim number 3 that she assaults or attempts to kill, or even kills. Crazy case, guys. Crazy case. Anyway, Mr. 100K a day in the flesh. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Talk about crime in St. Louis. And till next time, guys. Peace.